So, apparently, some of us have a problem. Nothing medical, not a call my lawyer one, purely social. A couple of days ago, lunch at the office, somebody brings up the world's top 10 billionaires. Funny thing, nobody at that table personally knew one, everyone still had an opinion. And like every billionaire conversation eventually does, it turned into the question, what would you do with $100 million? Instantly, everyone had an answer. Buy a yacht. Never work again. Walk in tomorrow just to tell my boss, I quit. Turns out, everyone had been rehearsing this their whole lives. Then they got to me, and my brain wasn't thinking about yachts. It was thinking, $100 million. Sounds exhausting. Now you've got accountants, lawyers, security, people whose entire job is making sure other people don't steal your money. My response, honestly, I don't really care. Silence. All eyes locked onto me in absolute disbelief. Like I had just confessed that I deeply despise puppies, sunshine, and free ice cream. The collective judgment was almost physical, which got me wondering, why does not wanting to be filthy rich sound like a personality defect? Turns out, psychology has a pretty interesting answer. There's a theory called self-determination theory. Sounds clinical. The core idea isn't. Motivation comes from two places, outside and inside. Outside is easy to spot. Money, bonuses, promotions, a nicer title, applause. Inside is quieter. It's the person who spends a whole Saturday learning to bake the perfect loaf of bread, not to sell it, not to post it, just to figure it out. The guy who keeps practicing guitar, fully aware he's never going on tour. The activity itself is the reward. Nobody has to pay them for it. Now, almost everyone runs on both. You can love your job and love getting paid. Those aren't opposites. But the ratio's different for everyone. And when your brain leans far enough towards the inside, money quietly stops being the point. It's still nice, you're not turning down a paycheck. It just becomes the bonus, not the destination. Your brain stops asking, how much could I make? It starts asking, would I still want to do this if nobody posted it on LinkedIn? Or better, is this actually worth my Tuesday? Because I've got roughly 4,000 Tuesdays left in my adult life. It pays slightly more isn't a great reason to spend one. And that's when I realized the lunch table and I weren't even answering the same question. Everyone else heard, what would you buy? I heard, what kind of life comes attached to that money? Those are not the same question. Here's the part your brain does even if money does motivate you. You get the promotion. Call your parents, update LinkedIn, feel amazing. For a while. A few months later, it's just your job. Buy the dream car. First week, you're finding excuses to drive it. By week 3, you're eating fries in it. Check engine lights on. Congratulations, it's officially just your car. Psychologists call this hedonic adaptation. I'd have called it the moving goalpost of happiness, but I guess that doesn't fit in a research paper. Your brain's just really good at turning amazing into normal, fast. It's not trying to ruin your life. If you stayed that excited about your toaster 5 years in, you'd never get anything done. The problem is your brain doesn't care whether the thing costs $20 or $20 million. It adapts anyway. Whether it's a new phone or a lottery win, the high always sinks back down to baseline. The raise becomes your salary. The dream house becomes your address. The watch becomes the one you forgot to take off before doing the dishes. Some people love that treadmill. Setting bigger goals, hitting them, setting bigger ones, genuinely nothing wrong with that. Other people look at the treadmill and think, does this thing ever stop? Because if every finish line just becomes the next starting line, what exactly am I racing toward? And this piece explains more than the other two combined. Nobody judges their life by an absolute number. You don't ask, is this enough? You ask, enough compared to who? Not a character flaw, just old software. Your brain used to compare you to 30 people in a village so you'd know where you stood. Now it compares you to millions before you finished your coffee. Someone your age sold a startup. Someone's on a beach in Greece. Someone retired at 35. Everyone's having the greatest Tuesday in human history, except you. That's what it feels like. Here's the weird part. You can be doing genuinely well. You got a job, people who love you, most bills paid, if not all. 10 minutes of scrolling can still convince you you're losing. Not because your life got worse, because your comparison got bigger. Eventually, some people just get tired. Not of money, of the scoreboard. So they stop checking it. Instead of, am I ahead of everyone else? They start asking, do I actually like my life? Two very different questions. Before this turns into a money doesn't matter video, it does. If your car breaks down, money matters. If someone in your family gets sick, money matters. This isn't an argument against making money. It's an argument against asking money to do a job it was never built for. Money's an incredible tool, but imagine using a hammer to brush your teeth. Still a great tool, wrong problem. Money solves a financial problem beautifully. It's never once solved loneliness, or purpose, or who am I when nobody's watching. People hand those jobs to their bank account anyway, then wonder why the number goes up and the feeling doesn't. Because somewhere along the way, money stopped being a tool and became an identity. Think about how we introduce ourselves. What do you do? Not what makes you lose track of time, just where do you rank? The happiest people I know almost never lead with a job title. They're a parent, the friend who organizes game night, the neighbor rebuilding a motorcycle that's been in pieces for 6 years, perfectly content if it takes 6 more. None of that shows up on a net worth list. Maybe that's exactly why it's so stable. They're not competing. They're just living in it. Which brings me back to that lunch table. I don't think anyone there was wrong. Somebody hands me $100 million, I'm not refusing it. I'd probably faint first, then say thank you. The difference was never whether money's good. The difference was the question everyone thought they were answering. Everyone else heard, what would you buy? I heard, what kind of life comes attached to that money? One is about spending. The other is about living. I wasn't treating money as the destination. I was treating it as transportation. Useful, sometimes incredibly useful, never actually the place I was trying to get to. So maybe the real question was never how much do you want? Maybe it's more of what? More meetings? More stuff to ensure? Maybe more mornings that don't start with an alarm you hate. More dinners where nobody's checking Slack. Maybe your answer is still, I want to build a billion-dollar company. Great, go build it. Maybe it's, I just want enough to stop worrying and spend the rest of my life making things I care about. Also a good answer. Neither one makes you better, neither makes you worse. The important part is knowing which race you're actually running, instead of accidentally running someone else's. So next time someone asks what you do with $100 million, don't answer right away. Ask yourself something else first. What do I actually think money is for? Your answer to that is probably more revealing than the number itself. And if you like digging into the weird little psychological quirks that quietly run our lives, that's exactly what we do here. See you in the next one.